She could read lips better than most people could read hearts. And that night, sitting at the small corner table of the cafe, she wished she couldn't. Because every word her date said, every cruel, impatient syllable, sliced deeper than silence ever had. She wasn't asking for pity. She was just asking to be understood. But fate had different plans that night. At the next table, a man with kind eyes and grease-stained hands noticed her trembling fingers. And when she finally looked up, defeated and ready to leave, he did something no one else ever had. He spoke her language. The cafe was warm, filled with the soft hum of conversation, the gentle hiss of the coffee machine, and the clinking of cups. For everyone else, it was noise. For Hira, it was just motion, the kind she could see but not hear. She had been deaf since she was 4. Life hadn't been easy, but she had learned to live in a world that often forgot people like her existed. She had worked hard to be here, at this very table, wearing a blue dress her mother once said made her eyes look like calm water. It was her first real date in years, and she had met him through an app where she'd clearly mentioned that she was deaf. His name was Samir, a marketing executive with a sharp smile and even sharper words. At first, he seemed polite. He waved when he came in and sat down across from her. But as soon as she started signing a cheerful hello, she noticed it, the flicker of discomfort in his eyes. He forced a smile, then typed on his phone, "Can you speak at all?" She nodded slowly, signing a little. He frowned, sighed, and leaned back. "This is going to be hard," he muttered, and she read his lips perfectly. Her heart sank. She picked up her phone and typed, "I can read lips, don't worry. It's not hard." He looked away, clearly annoyed. The next 15 minutes were an endless storm of awkwardness, his impatience, her silent efforts to keep up, and the pitying stares from nearby tables. Then came the final blow. "I thought you could at least talk properly," he said, his lips sharp and slow, his tone clear enough for her to catch every word. "This isn't what I expected." Her chest tightened. The date that was supposed to be a beginning had turned into another reminder of her loneliness. She forced a small smile, signed "Thank you for coming," and stood up, blinking back tears. The cafe blurred before her, and that's when she saw him. At the next table, a man about her age, dressed simply in a plaid shirt, sat with a small boy no older than 6. The boy was drawing something on a napkin, messy crayon hearts and stick figures. The man looked up at her, and unlike everyone else, he didn't look away. He didn't pity her. He just saw her. When she reached for her purse to leave, he raised his hands. For a moment, she froze. His fingers began to move, slowly but clearly. "You deserve better." Her breath caught that he had signed it. Perfectly. No one had ever done that for her outside her small circle of deaf friends. The simplicity of it, for signs, felt like warmth after a long winter. She blinked in disbelief as he smiled, a little shyly. She signed back, "You know sign language?" He nodded, pointing to the boy next to him. The child waved, then signed clumsily, "Hi." Something inside her broke and healed all at once. Chapter 2. His name was Adnan. He was a single father and a mechanic who worked long hours to provide for his son, Aram, who was born partially deaf. When doctors told us about Aram's condition, Adnan later signed, "My wife couldn't handle it. She left." His hands hesitated midair before he continued, "So, I learned to speak his world instead of expecting him to live in mine." They met again 2 days later, at the same cafe, though this time it wasn't planned. Hira had gone there to write in her journal, but when she saw Adnan and Aram at their usual corner, she couldn't help smiling. Aram recognized her first and ran up to her, signing excitedly about his new drawing. From that day, their worlds began to quietly intertwine. Adnan wasn't like anyone she had met before. He didn't rush her to speak or make her feel broken. He listened, not with his ears, but with his eyes. Their conversations were silent, yet they carried more meaning than words ever could. One evening, they walked by the riverside as the sun dipped below the city skyline. Aram ran ahead, chasing paper boats along the water. Hira sighed softly, "Do you ever miss having someone to talk to with sound?" Adnan smiled, his hands moving gently. "Sound isn't the only way to hear. Sometimes silence speaks the loudest truths." She looked at him, really looked, and realized that maybe love wasn't about being understood perfectly. It was about being accepted entirely, but fate tested them once more. A few weeks later, Adnan was in an accident at the garage. The sound of collapsing metal and the hiss of fire meant nothing to Hira when the call came, but the panic in the messenger's eyes said it all. She rushed to the hospital with Aram clinging to her hand. When Adnan finally woke, his right hand, the one he signed with most, was wrapped in thick bandages. He couldn't move it. His eyes welled up when he realized he couldn't sign to his son. Aram began to cry. But before Hira could even think, she sat on the bed.